welcome to a stupendous election eve installment. From very high above, all the insipid and absolutely puerile forms of Wyoming mainstream media, this is Cowboy State Politics. I, of course, am your illustrious host, David Iverson, firmly ensconced behind the silver Cowboy State Politics microphone and broadcasting to you from the base of the Bighorns at the Cowboy State Politics studio in Sheridan, Wyoming. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the program. Happy Monday, Election Eve, August 17th. My friends, they have finally come out and said it. The Redcoats have to vote with the Democrats so that they can take power in the House of Representatives. And, as is almost always the case, it's the Democrats who are being way more honest about their plans. Over the weekend, Democrat Representative Mike Yin posted a video to his Facebook account. In it, he says,
and so the question becomes, if we have enough members to choose someone who isn't a Freedom Caucus member on the state of Wyoming, can we do that with both Democrats and Republicans? Yes, of course we can. We can work together.
See, I told you. The liberal Republicans, who are actually just Democrats who can't spell in the House of Representatives, can work together with the Democrats to elect a liberal speaker. Now, let me ask you something, Wyoming Republicans. Is that what you expect when voting for your Republican representative? My guess is, no. I know some pretty liberal Republicans. In fact, every once in a while, I have coffee with one of them. And even they wouldn't be caught dead voting for a Democrat. But as we all know, those are not the type of people that campaign as Republicans when they're really Democrats. And so when they get to Cheyenne, things change a little bit, and they decide that it's time to take the masks off. Voting on legislation, that is. But don't think for a second that conversations haven't already been had as to how they can avoid a conservative Speaker of the House. But before we get into any of that, let me just play for you what happened last time. That is, in 2025 during the election of Speaker of the House. Here it is.
We are at that order of business of election of Speaker. The House will now receive nominations for the Speaker from the floor.
Mr. Speaker, it is my honor to nominate Representative Nyman as Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 68th Wyoming Legislature.
Mr. Speaker, I second the nomination of Representative Nyman and move that his election be made unanimous, dispensing with the roll call.
It has been moved and seconded that Representative Nyman be unanimously elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 68th Wyoming Legislature, and that we dispense with the roll call. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion carries. I appoint Representative Rodriguez-Williams and Haraldson to escort Representative Nyman to receive the oath of office and then take the chair.
So that's how it went last time. One Republican nominated, everybody says we're going to do it unanimously, and then we have Speaker of the House Chip Nyman. Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty of all of this, let me play for you one other thing that Mike Yin said. Get a load of this. Now, let's remember who exactly Mike Yin is. He is the Democrat minority floor leader in the Wyoming House of Representatives. Take a listen.
It doesn't matter the party. Partisanship actually has no bearing. Partisanship is basically a fiction that we use to organize ourselves.
So the party is a fiction. That's just something we use to organize ourselves. It really doesn't matter. Well, I suppose if you're a Democrat, then your party kind of is a fiction. For most of the state, anyway. But think about what he's actually saying. Republicans, Democrats, none of that stuff really matters. We just kind of vote for who we want as speaker. Those votes can come from anywhere. Uh-huh. Right. Technically, Mike Yin is correct, but only technically. When it comes to the actual election of Speaker, a Democrat vote is worth just as much as a Republican vote. But Mike Yin is definitely not correct when he says that parties in the Wyoming House of Representatives are a fiction. He just wants them to be, because there's only 6 Democrats in the House. And as far as leadership in the Wyoming House goes, they're pretty much irrelevant. Now let me take you all the way back to 1994. Eli Bebout, who had served in the House of Representatives from 1987 to 1994 in the Democrat Party. In April of that year, Bebout switches from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. The big question is why? Because the Democrats had been on a downward slide for several years. That year in the legislature, they had 13 seats. But it wasn't looking so hot for them in the 1994 election. In the 94 election, they lost almost half of their representation in the House. They went from 13 to 7. From 93 to 94, Bebout was part of the Democrat leadership in the House for that session. So in April of 94, Bebout switches from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party and gets reelected. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why he switched parties. 1, he was probably going to lose his seat, and 2, he was definitely losing influence in the House. He gets reelected as a Republican. Magically, in 2 years, he's the majority floor leader. He's the second most powerful person in the House of Representatives. The next election, he's elected Speaker of the House. And then later, he moves on to the Senate and eventually becomes Senate President. None of that would have happened had he stayed in the Democrat Party. In fact, he probably wouldn't have even stayed in the legislature. So please, Mike, tell me how.
Partisanship actually has no bearing. Partisanship is basically a fiction that we use to organize ourselves.
Mike Yin just wants it to be a fiction, because that's the only way that his candidate is going to end up as Speaker of the House. The truth is, talking to longtime members of the House of Representatives, at least in the last 20 years, the election for Speaker of the House has not been challenged on the floor. Here's how the whole thing works. The members of each party in the House of Representatives get together and they hold an election of who they want to nominate as Speaker of the House. The party who has the majority, that is, the Republicans, nominate their candidate on the floor of the House, and as you heard, that nomination goes through unanimously. Even Mike Yin and Carly Provenza voted in favor of Representative Chip Nyman to be Speaker of the House.
It has been moved and seconded that Representative Nyman be unanimously elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 68th Wyoming Legislature, and that we dispense with the roll call. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion carries.
Did you hear the crickets from Mike Yin, Carly Provenza, Trey Sherwood, Liz Storr, Ivan Posey, and Ken Chestick? If what Mike Yin is saying is true, why would they ever vote for one of those evil Freedom Caucus members to be Speaker of the House? It's not because parties are a fiction. Because, they're not.
I want lower property taxes for all property owners. So let's talk turkey about taxes. I'm Carla Cayley, and I'm running for county commissioner. As you know, property taxes are calculated by multiplying 4 numbers together. 2 of those numbers are the mill rate and assessed value. You can help control the mill rate by who you elect as your county commissioners and how you vote at the ballot box on anything that adds to the mill rate. We are already paying around 70 mills. That's right, 70 mills. That's a lot. No matter what people tell you, a mill rate dollar value is never fixed. It's not just $50 on your taxes. A $50 value for 1 mill today could end up being $500 tomorrow. I'm pro-citizen, pro-business, and without compromising essential services, together let's lower taxes. I'm Carla Cayley, and I'm asking for your vote on August 18th. Paid for by the committee to elect Carla Cayley.
It's about 1 billion degrees outside, and you're probably not thinking about your feet, but you probably should. You need a pair of socks from the Buffalo Wool Company. They'll keep your feet cool and dry even on the hottest of Wyoming summer days. Go to their website, thebuffalowoolco.com. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
A free people require the right to keep and bear arms. I've been proud to sponsor and co-sponsor several gun bills. I'm Mark Jennings, and I'm running for Wyoming State House District 30. I'm endorsed by the NRA and Gun Owners of America. Vote to uphold the Second Amendment. Vote for Mark Jennings on August the 18th. This message was paid for by Mark Jennings for House District 30. I approve of this message, and you should too.
And now, let's get back to the program. So what is Yin actually doing in this video? Well, he's setting the stage for the leadership vote. He's telegraphing a message to the Redcoats that if they get enough votes, the Democrats will vote along with them so that they can take leadership in the House of Representatives. And he's admitting that the liberal red-coated Republicans in the House of Representatives work right alongside the Democrats. And really, all you have to do is look at the voting record of all of these red-coated Republicans. Most of them vote with the Democrat Party majority over 80% of the time. And so, when it comes down to it, the 6 Democrats in the House of Representatives really do have an outsized influence on what happens in the House. Now, it just so happens in the last 2 years, conservatives have controlled that chamber of our legislature. And so for the last 2 years, their influence has been quite a bit muted as to what it was even 3 years ago. Even so, look at what they were able to accomplish. Had it not been for the Wyoming Senate, the school recalibration bill would have died on the House floor. They were able to keep about $1.5 billion in extra spending in the budget. The Wyoming Business Council, which absolutely should not exist, was still able to keep 1 year of funding because of the alliance of the liberal red-coated Republicans and Democrats in the House of Representatives. In all fairness to some of the Redcoats, there are some issues that even they will not go along with the Democrats on. The heartbeat bill is a great example. On third reading, there were only 2 Republicans that voted against that bill, Andrew Byron and Bob Nicholas. Had Elisa Campbell not missed that vote, there would have been 3. On concurrence, the final vote on the bill, which really is only voting on the changes that the Senate made to it, it was Andrew Byron, Elisa Campbell, and Julie Jarvis that voted against the bill. Bob Nicholas, in that case, missed that vote, or he would have voted no also. So yes, there are some places that even a liberal Republican will not go. Just not that many. My point in this, my friends, is that there is more going on here than just who is going to be elected to the House and who isn't. And it really does boil down to actual Republicans versus those people who are Democrats that can't spell. And it's far worse than them just lying to you. They're asking you not to trust what you can obviously see with your own eyes. It's classic gaslighting. I'm a fiscal conservative. Pay no attention to that $1.241 billion in extra spending that I voted for. That's Marilyn Connolly, by the way. Actually, if it were Marilyn Connolly, it would sound something like this. Well, I don't know. I'm a fiscal conservative. It really is that bad. The only person that has more people get up and walk off the floor when they start talking is Julie Jarvis. Okay, back to what this episode is largely about. When tomorrow's elections are over, and we know who gets a desk in Cheyenne and who doesn't, the conversation about who is going to lead both chambers of the House is going to begin almost immediately. My guess would be it's going to start about 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And whomever that person ends up being gets to decide which bills actually make it to the floor and which ones get tossed into the garbage can. The Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, they'll decide who is on which committee and who the chairman of those committees are. Now, all of that is kind of inside baseball. It's all super important. Really, though, tomorrow's election boils down to one simple thing: which direction this state is going to start heading. If we vote for a whole bunch of legislators that are liberal, and by the way, nobody is really hiding anymore. Melissa Butcher in Senate 21 has it right on her website that she believes in elective abortions. Of course, it's couched in all sorts of vague terms, but that's really what it means. Beyond that, her campaign is calling citizens in Senate 21, putting everything right out in the open, why she's running for office. Here, listen.
Hi, my name is Miranda, and I'm calling in support of Melissa Butcher for State Senate. Melissa stands with Wyoming's core industries, will stop the Freedom Caucus corruption, and fight for Wyoming families at the State House.
Did you hear that word? Corruption. The only definite thing in that phone call is the word corruption. That the Freedom Caucus is corrupt. There's no explanation of what that is, except that when you hear the word corruption, you immediately think that the person accused of it has committed a crime. Let me be very, very clear. Melissa Butcher's opponent, my friend, Representative Pendergraft, is one of the most decent people that I have ever met. He is absolutely forthright, sometimes to a fault, with everybody that he meets. He means what he says, and he keeps his word every single time. I think if you live in Melissa Butcher's district like I do, you should give her a call. Her phone number is 307-683-8213. Back on topic. So tomorrow's election, there's a lot on the table. One direction this state can go is more government and more of your tax dollars going to people that didn't earn it. Or you keep more of your money in your pocket. We get government back in the box that it was always meant to be in. And we stop poisoning our kids with pornography in their schools and LGBTQ agendas stuffed down their throats and abortions up to and including the moment of birth. It's an easy choice in my book, my friends. Well, that'll about do it for today's installment of this Election Eve episode. Don't miss tomorrow's Election Day edition of Cowboy State Politics Live. But for now, from the base of the Bighorns at the Cowboy State Politics Studio, I'm David Iverson, and this is the one and only Cowboy State Politics.